particularly on social media, politicians get positive feedback from negatively phrased tweets.
Tweet from President Donald Trump is exploding online overnight.
So yes, there is a lot of negativity in American election, and this election, or the upcoming election in November, no exception. Team Trump, very negative. Team Biden, when Biden was still a candidate, was very negative. And Team Harris is also quite negative, in a different way, but they are all quite negative, yes.
Well, that's true. There's a lot of negative campaigning going on, particularly in the current American election. I think that's also a bit more specific than other elections, and has to do with the specific candidates. But we also generally see that negative campaigning, but also negative tone in general, speeches, parliamentary speeches, speeches in Congress, are also increasing. And of course also on social media, you see that negativity is becoming more prominent. What we find in this research is that positivity really works. Positive in terms of smiling, but also in terms of tone. It works better than negative tone or negative facial expressions. And we find this in at least 10 different experiments in the Netherlands, the US, Poland and Greece. So it really replicates, it's really solid finding. But it's also just an average effect. So that means that for the majority, they prefer the positivity, but there's also quite a sizable group who prefers the negativity. If you then see the increase in negativity in political communication, then there seems to be some sort of mismatch, a mismatch in representation, a mismatch between what politicians give us and what we want to hear.
I would say there are two main reasons why politicians still keep on negative campaigning. The first one, and the two are a bit depressing. So the first reason is the so-called path dependency, or the sort of the negativity creates negativity reason. We are now locked in a system where attacking political opponents is becoming extremely common, almost expected. And if, as a candidate, if you don't do it yourself, someone else will do it to you. And if you don't retaliate, you risk losing the argument. And this simply means that as soon as there is a little bit of negativity, we enter into this spiral of attacks and counterattacks. That's the first reason. The second reason is more structural. American politics is a very formalized, professionalized political system. There's a lot of money spent to create and generate political campaigns. One of the big items in the budget for political communication is hiring political consultants. There is some extremely interesting research that uses an anthropological approach that interviews these political consultants, and what they have found in several studies is that somehow the profession, so political consultants as a profession, they seem to believe that attacks work. So the more you're professionalized, the higher the chances that you will hire a campaign professional, and there is a super strong chance that this person will tell you, hey, you need to attack. In other terms, we are locked into a system for which attacks are just necessary, regardless of the effects.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Take it from the people who knew him best. Donald Trump is a danger to our troops and our democracy. We can't let him lead our country again.
Trump has always had a very negative tone. And now, especially as an opposition candidate, he has to critique the government. That's, of course, a general effect that you find opposition candidates always have a more negative tone than candidates that are part of the government. So Harris, in that sense, has a different role in the sense that she also needs to defend what she and Joe Biden have been doing in the last 4 years. At the same time, you also see that she uses a lot more positivity, of course, also more than Biden did. And so you see her smiling a lot, for example. That said, I do want to emphasize that if you look at Trump's campaign rallies, there are also a lot of positive emotions there. So he does try to emphasize group feeling, them against the others. And for a lot of people, this of course has a positive connotation. It makes them feel part of a group. I think this is a bit the underestimated part of Donald Trump. What
we seem to show in experiments that we have run in the Netherlands and in the USA is that if you use a humor packaging, if you envelope your attack, even nasty ones, in jokes, in memes, in sarcasm, your attack still remains sharp. It doesn't lose any sharpness. So you are still able to reduce support for the opponent, but the backlash against the target is much lower. People love jokes. And if you are able to do a joke and an attack, or even better, an attack, even a nasty one, packaged into a joke, that seems to be a winning strategy.